Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in today's video we're dipping our toes a little bit into the general NFL, previewing the first regular season game of the year. It is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Now I know guys, I know I'm usually a Bucs channel and whatnot, but I've dabbled a little bit in general NFL stuff in the past, and let me know down in the comments section below if you want to see a little bit more of the general NFL stuff. If anything, I would try and keep it more contained to the NFC South, considering that's the Bucs division, you know, and we always got to worry about the Falcons, the Saints, and the Panthers and whatnot. So let me know if you want to see a little bit more of that down in the comments section below, and just give your general opinions on it. But in today's video, we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons versus the Philadelphia Eagles, the first regular season game of the year. And oh boy, it's a doozy, because these are two very big, hard-hitting, these are two of the bigger teams in the NFC. And there's a lot of storylines, a lot of stuff that's going on with both teams. And I'm going to actually start with the Philadelphia Eagles first. Two of the big things are actually injury-related. The Eagles will be without Carson Wentz, and they will be without Alshon Jeffery in this game. Alshon Jeffery is still recovering from a shoulder surgery he had in February, and Carson Wentz is still recovering from a torn ACL he suffered last season as well. So in will come in Nick Foles, the guy who defeated the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, mind you. So you got to figure that the Eagles will probably be in good hands. They actually, declined a lot of trade offers from teams like the Cleveland Browns, and I'm sure among other teams. They even declined a second-round draft pick to hold on to Nick Foles. Now you kind of know why. They weren't 100% sure, I imagine, if Carson Wentz was going to be able to play, and now they have one of the better backups in the league in Nick Foles. I'm sure he'll do pretty good. He's had starting experience before with teams like the St. Louis Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs, as well as the Philadelphia Eagles with his first stint with the team, so you got to figure he'll do pretty well. And with Alshon Jeffery being out, you should see an emergence of guys like Nelson Agholor, who actually came into his own last year, actually had a little bit of an expanded role with the team and actually proved to be pretty decent in his role with the team. And Zach Ertz, one of the more reliable tight ends in the NFL. Garrett Selleck had retired. I don't even believe he was with the team anymore at this time. But, Zach Ertz emerged last year as one of the top passing options for this team. So you got to figure that he was going to have a big role in this game anyway, but he's going to have an even bigger role with Alshon Jeffery being out. And he might be Nick Foles' top target in this game. I'm not too entirely sure, but it should be interesting to see. Another thing that's actually going to be pretty interesting to see is how the Eagles running back situation works out, because right now there's not a for sure number one guy. I'm sure for any Eagles fans watching this video, they might like a Ajayi or a Darren Sproles or whatnot, but in my opinion, I think it might be more of a committee, because you have Ajayi, you have Darren Sproles, you have Corey Clement, who was basically one of the bigger parts of the Eagles' Super Bowl win, and you have Wendell Smallwood, who's a pretty good young back as well. So you have four running backs who deserve a good chunk of time. So I'll be very interested to see how all four of those guys split their time and their touches and whatnot. You got to assume that probably Darren Sproles is going to continue to be that receiving back. Ajayi is probably going to be that power back, and I would assume Wendell Smallwood and Corey Clement are going to be that kind of change of pace type back, I guess you should say. So that should be something pretty interesting looking at moving forward as well. Hopefully I'm doing better in this video with, having all the rosters set and whatnot, because last time I did a video with the Bears and whatnot, it didn't go well. I actually forgot that Pernell McPhee was cut, so, that kind of sucked. But actually taking a look at the Eagles' defense as well, you have, seriously, okay, they lost some pieces. They lost Bo Allen, they lost Vinny Curry, as well as a couple other guys, but they went out and they actually got some very strong replacements, and their defensive line is really freaking good, guys. It still continues to be one of the best on paper looking defensive lines in the league. You still have Fletcher Cox, who's a beast. Fletcher Cox might be one of the more underrated defensive linemen in the NFL. He's really, really good. You have Micheal Bennett, who I don't agree with Micheal Bennett personally. He's done some pretty shady stuff, but that doesn't, take away from the fact that he's a really good defensive lineman. He is getting a little bit up there in age. He was traded from the Seattle Seahawks to the Philadelphia Eagles, but he's still really good. The Eagles pretty much got him for a bargain, and you know, he's still a very productive pass rusher in his own right. You have Brandon Graham, who, again, one of the more underrated pass rushers in this league. Brandon Graham's really good. Him and Fletcher Cox are literally insanely good. Like, they're really good, okay? I can't stress that enough. And you have Chris Long, the returning veteran. You know, they're all just really good players. That's a pretty good defensive line, and I think you can do a lot with that. So I'm going to be very interested to see how much they're going to be able to pressure Matt Ryan and the Falcons offense and make sure that Matt Ryan makes mistakes. I mean, Matt Ryan's been in the league a very long time. He usually doesn't crumble under pressure that much, but it should be interesting to see this Eagles really good defensive line versus the Falcons offensive line. And also, I actually forgot Derreck Barnett. So Derreck Barnett's kind of the young up-and-coming guy, hopefully the successor to one of these guys like a Micheal Bennett. So, you know, Derreck Barnett's another guy. He was kind of flown under the radar last year. He had a very productive season last year. So he's another Eagles defensive lineman to look out for. Moving on to the Atlanta Falcons side of this game. Now, I know I just said a lot of positives for the Eagles because they're a heavy hitter. Obviously, they're the defending Super Bowl champions. But the Atlanta Falcons are very good in their own right as well. They went to the playoffs last year. Obviously, I don't like the Atlanta Falcons that much, but I can't deny, okay, they have some good pieces on this team. Let's take a look at them, okay? Right away, the first thing that jumped off the page to me whenever I was looking at the Eagles roster was Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley being the Atlanta Falcons' first-round draft pick in this past draft, and Julio Jones being Julio Jones. He's probably either the first or second best wide receiver in the league. It's either him or Antonio Brown, really. It's just pick whoever you like more. But regardless, both these guys should be very productive wide receivers. The last time... apparently a lot of people compare Calvin Ridley to Julio Jones and vice versa and whatnot, and they say this is going to be a very scary wide receiver tandem, and I kind of agree with them. Julio Jones is just a beast, and now you finally have a very, very high tier number 2 option besides Julio, besides your Mohamed Sanu and whatnot. So I'm interested to see how these two wide receivers play with Matt Ryan and whatnot. Yes, they lost Kyle Shanahan a while ago, but still, this offense still has a lot of firepower with guys like Tevin Coleman, Devonta Freeman, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Matt Ryan at the quarterback position. Matt Ryan's fresh off of a new contract, so things are looking pretty good for this Falcons offense. And then moving over to the defensive side of the ball, you have Isaiah Oliver, who the Falcons got, and I believe the second round, you pair him up with Desmond Trufant, and that's a pretty good couple of cornerbacks that you have there versus a somewhat weakened Eagles offense with Foles, with Wentz and Jeffery being out. You know, you have a little bit of a stronger cornerback room now with Isaiah Oliver and Desmond Trufant, and then your defensive line is literally ridiculous. I feel, I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure the Falcons run a little bit of a hybrid defense. So you have Takk McKinley, you have Jarrett on your, you know, your defensive line there, your defensive ends, Grady Jarrett as your defensive tackle, Takk McKinley as your defensive end, and then your linebacking core is just scary. You have De'Mondre Campbell, you have Vic Beasley. Vic Beasley's a really good pass rusher, and you have Deion Jones. You have one of the stronger linebacking cores in the league. That's really good. Specifically, Vic Beasley and Deion Jones. They're freaking insane, man. They're really good. In the secondary, you still have Isaiah Oliver, Desmond Trufant. You also have, I believe, Ricardo Allen is his name, the safety. So this is a pretty complete team. Obviously, this is two playoff teams going up against each other. You have the Super Bowl defending Philadelphia Eagles, and you have the Atlanta Falcons, who made the playoffs. And, you know, they've just been a pretty decent team for a couple of years now. So this should be a really fun matchup, a really fun first game to kind of all of us to sink our teeth into and get ready for Sunday. It should be a lot of fun. This is a pretty power, you know, this is a pretty, you know, it's a strong matchup, okay? It's a very strong matchup, and it's hard to call which team would win. If I had to pick right now, I would have to go with the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, just because what they somewhat lack for in their offensive firepower with missing out on guys like Carson Wentz and Alshon Jeffery. They have an insane offensive line. Their offensive line barely changed this year. They're still very, very, very good offensive line, probably the best in the league. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they barely missed a beat, you know? They lost a couple of guys and they replaced them with guys who were just as good, if not better. This defense is looking really good, and, you know, no discredit to the Falcons. They have a very solid team as well, but I'm going to go with the Super Bowl defending champions for this one. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game, but let me know what you guys all think about it down in the comments section below. I know that I said some positive things about the Falcons and, you know, some NFC teams, but I got to give credit where credit's due. I'm still Bucks for life. I still think the Bucks are going to do amazing this year. They're going to win the Super Bowl, okay? Mark my words. They're going to win the Super Bowl. I will always be positive about the Bucks forever. Anyway, next video should be a Bucks players to watch for week 1 and whatnot. That should be out tomorrow. I just wanted to get this video out quick just so I could have, you know, just talk about some general NFL stuff, and let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section below. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, and as always, I will see you in the next video. But until then, and as always, goodbye for now, and go Bucks.